Well, the defense suddenly rests at the Delphi double murder trial. Now it's on to closing arguments, and then the jury will decide if 52-year-old Richard Allen did in fact kill two teenage girls, Abby Williams and Libby German, back in 2017. ABC 57's Annie Kate is covering the trial for us. She's live in studio with what happened in court today and what happens next. Annie?
Yeah, Brian, Richard Allen's defense team rested its case today after just over 4 days of trial testimony. Now, of course, the prosecution has the burden of proof in the trial, but defense attorneys had their work cut out for them too. They had to not only discredit the state's investigation and theories, but also try to show Allen's own confessions are false.
The defense rests. Richard Allen's team poking holes in the state's theory of events, trying to prove Allen's own words of confession cannot be taken seriously, calling witnesses to the stand who didn't see any bridge guy February 13th, 2017, who didn't hear any screams or any indication of a crime, pressing law enforcement about interviews lost to a tech glitch, about why the girls' bodies or the clothes thrown into Deer Creek weren't found during search parties. Showing videos of Allen's prison psychosis, calling experts to testify about the deplorable conditions in prison and the impacts on Allen's mental health. He entered prison with depression and anxiety, possibly dependent personality disorder, which devolved into psychosis behind prison bars. And the defense trying to discredit a detail about a white van from one of Allen's confessions, something the prosecution says is a detail only the killer would know.
And all along, defense attorneys fought to bring back evidence for their alternate murder theory dealing with Odinism. Each step of the way, Judge Fran Gall did not allow that argument in court. So what happens now? The prosecution gets to call rebuttal witnesses, and I'll have that testimony recapped coming up at 5:30. But for now, in studio, Amanda Kate, back to you. Yeah, Brian, it was definitely a shock for all of us. It's day 17 of trial testimony, and just after the jury entered the Carroll County courtroom this morning, the defense rested its case.
The prosecution calling up rebuttal witnesses Wednesday after Richard Allen's defense team rested its case. This included the psychiatrist who prescribed Allen's meds at Westville Correctional, who said on the stand that despite the mental harm done to Allen behind bars, it was all for the greater mission of keeping the suspect safe. He observed a stable Richard Allen when he first entered prison safekeeping in November 2022. But in April 2023, he saw Allen covered in his own feces, clearly showing signs of psychosis, justifying his prescription of involuntary medication to sedate Allen. He could see no more evidence of psychosis about a month later and stopped the meds in June. That's also when Allen told the doctor he wanted to apologize to Abby and Libby's families. The defense played yet another video of Allen being treated in prison to drive home their point that Allen was mistreated, a difficult moment in court for their client. And investigator Brian Harshman, who monitored Allen's prison phone calls, testified Allen threatened staff members just weeks before trial after his safekeeping order was rolled back and he could return to a county jail.
Each side will get 2 to 2.5 hours for their closing arguments. Those are expected to start tomorrow. Coming up at 6, more of what we can expect in the days to come. But for now, live in studio, Amanda Kate, back to you. Yeah, Brian, I really wasn't expecting this today, but this trial is moving faster than I think any of us expected. The jury was let into the Carroll County courtroom this morning. The judge called for the defense to call their next witness, and at that point, attorney Brad Rosie said they rest their case.
The defense team in the Delphi Murders Trial rested its case Wednesday. Special Judge Fran Gall told the jury just after 2 p.m., quote, "You have heard all the evidence in this case," end quote. Closing arguments will get underway Thursday. Both the prosecution and the defense will have 2 to 2.5 hours to have their final say in this 17-day trial. The prosecution, with the burden of proof, laying out its case over 12 days of testimony, arguing that Bridge Guy is the killer and Richard Allen is bridge guy, using Allen's own words that he forced the girls down the hill at gunpoint to have his way with them, getting spooked by a white van and slitting the girls' throats. The defense taking about 4 days of testimony, arguing Allen's mental health and prison treatment should negate his own confessions, that the state's timeline and theories can't be trusted. They notably could not bring in their evidence of Odinism, their theory that Norse pagans were the real killers of Libby and Abby. And as the trial turns to the jury, the families of Libby German and Abby Williams hold on to hope the two girls are one step closer to justice.
Now, I will be in Delphi tomorrow, but I know the line outside the courtroom is already formed, so there's no chance that I will get inside that courtroom tomorrow, but I will be there to get the updates in real time, and I will bring them directly to you. In studio, Annie Kate, ABC 57.